this is video 1-2. Our learning target for this video is I can identify parts of exponential notation. Number 2, understand that it is repeated multiplication. Number 3, move between exponential form and standard form. And 4, apply knowledge of exponents to real-world problem-solving solutions. Our essential question for today is, what is the effect of the exponent on the base number? Our math practice standards are number 2, number 3, and number 6. And remember, you can refer back to your chart in your notebook so that you know exactly what these standards look like. The key terms for this lesson, you have exponent, which is the number that tells how many times the base is used as a factor. The base, which is the number used as the factor. It's the big number, and it is the number that is multiplied repeatedly. Power is the exponent. It's another word that we use to represent the exponent. Square means raised to the second power. Square root is one of the two equal factors of a number. So if I said square root of 100, you would say is 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. And those are the two equal factors of that particular number. Cube means raised to the third power. Let's look at an example. This is what a number written with an exponent looks like. You have the base, which is the large 2, and you have the power or the exponent. Those two are interchangeable, which is written smaller and up to the right, and it is a 3. Some other examples that we have dealing with exponents would ask us to actually go through and simplify an exponent or actually find an answer. So if I look back at 2 to the third power, that is equal to 2 times 2 times 2, which I know is going to be 8. But let me show you how we got to that 8. You multiply the first 2's together, 2 times 2, and you have 4. Then you multiply that answer, that product, by 2, and then you end up with 8. And that is how we arrived at the 8. For example B, we're still raising a number to the third power, but this time we switch to a 4. Again, that is 4 times 4 times 4, which is equal to 64. And I got that by multiplying 4 times 4, getting 16, and then doing 16 times 4, which is 64. When I think about how to read exponents, a lot of people read them differently. This is how I would like for you all to practice reading them. 4 with an exponent of 5 is read as 4 to the 5th power. 8 with a 6 as an exponent is read as 8 to the 6th power. 7 with a 2 as the exponent is actually read two different ways. You can read it as 7 to the 2nd power or 7 squared. This 7 squared goes back to our vocabulary term of square, and that's what you will hear me use a lot of times in class, so I want you to be familiar with that. 5 with a power of 3 is also read two different ways. It can be read as 5 to the 3rd power or 5 cubed. Again, going back to vocabulary with the word cube, meaning raised to the 3rd power. I've written two statements down here that will help you, and you can write these down in your notes. Any number to the 2nd power is considered to be squared, and any number to the 3rd power is considered to be cubed. We have something called a special base, and that's not really the correct term you want to use, but it is a special number, and that base is 10. And if you look at the little pyramid that I've started here, 10 to the 1st power is 10, to the 2nd power is 100, to the 3rd power is 1,000, the 4th power is 10,000, the 5th power is 100,000. The reason we call these special is because you can actually come up with these without having to write out 10 times 10 times 10 equals 1,000. If 10 is the base, then you write down a 1, you look at the exponent, and you use the exponent to tell you how many zeros to write after the 1. So for example here where I had 10 to the 5th power, I wrote down a 1, there's a 5, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Now what I would like for you to do, underneath the notes that we've just taken, I would like for you to try the following. We will actually go over these in class instead of me working them out on the video so I can see what you have understood. I want you to write these first two questions in exponential form. Number 1 is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Number 2 is 3 times 3 times 3. Now notice I said just write it in exponential form. I don't want you to simplify it. I just want a number raised to a power. The next set I want you to do, I actually want you to simplify it. So as I did in example A and example B, where we took 5 to the third power or whatever the power was, we wrote it out using we stretched it out into expanded form, and then we found an answer. We actually did the math. Same thing for number 4, which is 10 to the 6th power, and remember 10 is a special base. And then the last two, I would like for you to write these in both words and to simplify them. And it is perfectly fine for you to use either one of the word or the ways to write it that we went over in the examples.